Hello, welcome to Dave's Desk again. Today I'm with a guy who, sometimes you meet someone and you feel like you know them, but you've never met them, but you've heard so much about them. Well, this guy is Craig Spillane. Craig is based just north of Stoke-on-Trent in Newcastle under Lyme. He's a full-time sparky, an electrician. In fact, as you can probably see, he's on site right now. He's got a he's got a tracksuit top covered in stuff. Either that, or he's just been to a hell of a party. And and the reason I'm interviewing a Sparky is not because he's particularly good as a Spark, which he is, but I'm interviewing Craig because at the beginning of lockdown, I came across a group on Facebook. The group was called Men Unite, and I found it because I was looking to support a friend of mine who was struggling. I introduced him to the group, and my mate suggested I join the group. And I went, "What for? I'm not struggling." Because it's a group that helps men who are struggling emotionally, mentally. And I'm ashamed to say what I'm about to say, especially in front of Craig. But I thought, why should I join a group like this? All it's going to be full of is very, very sad people talking about sad stuff. I don't need that. But actually, do you know what I found? I found a group with, well, the last time I looked, there was over 13,000 men in who are open. They're supportive. I mean, supportive in a way I have never seen blokes supporting each other before. And I found it far from a sad place. Of course, you get the odd sad moment, but one of the most positive, inspiring, and uplifting environments I've ever been in. In fact, to the point that I've invited some of my speaker and coach colleagues who are also a bit crazy in the positive way like me to go in and help support. And it is a phenomenal environment. So, Craig, welcome to the call.
Hi, mate. Okay.
How are you doing, mate?
I'm good, mate. I'm glad we could finally schedule in a bit of time.
It's been a while, hasn't it? We've been trying for a long time. This guy is busy. So, Craig, first of all, tell me about you. What makes you tick?
Well, I'm just a regular guy, mate. And what makes me tick is the same as what makes most men tick. You know, just life in general. I think it's hard to sort of pin down. Until I set up Men Unite. Now that's what makes me tick, helping people, making a difference, inspiring people. I never realized that was my passion until obviously Men Unite became the sort of entity that it is today. But there's nothing more rewarding than helping people. I have been so humbled and so honored over the past 2 years that Men Unite's been created. Some of the messages that I've received on my phone, mate, will live with me forever and make me filling up now about the prize.
So why did you start Men Unite? What's the backstory there?
Well, I've got a bit of a checkered past myself, Dave, and I've been completely honest and open about that past since the day Men Unite was created. And you know, I've been in prison a couple of times for violent offences. I've been into rehab. I used to have a £1,000 a week cocaine habit. I've been through a divorce that was very bitter. Still to this day, even though my youngest son is 21 almost, his mum sort of despises me and everything that I'm about. But, you know, I've got sort of the tools to tackle men's mental health issues head on, if you like. My mum had her issues when I was growing up. My dad had his issues. You know, I think mental health is kind of, I don't know if it's sort of hereditary, but it's certainly rife in my family, that's for sure. We've all sort of got our own sort of issues and demons, as it were.
Yeah.
So I'd had a few breakdowns myself over the years, whether it be through addiction or whether it be through a vast amount of work that I was taking on. The trouble is that I used to never say no to anything. So it'd be, can you do this? Can you do that job? Can you do that? And I found myself biting off more than I could chew, if you like. And I think that the modern man is certainly guilty of doing that a lot. But ultimately, it caused me massive unhappiness and massive pressures in my life. So I had a few breakdowns and resulted in me ending up in prison, obviously. But particularly a dark patch of my life, I only got through it because of the love and support of my girlfriend at the time, Carrie. You know, she's been my rock since day one I met her. She pulled me out of a real dark place, and she'll probably never understand the you know, how that could have gone. But April the 10th, 2019, I was just sat on the toilet one morning, and I was facing a not too long drive. It was only probably 40 minutes, an hour to Manchester from my house. and it was another tedious day on site. I hated the job. I used to hate driving there, and I used to think, fucking hell, another day on site. But really, when you think about it, it was a good job. It was a very well-paid job. I was very fortunate to be on this site.
Yeah.
So I sort of instantly snapped myself out of that sort of feeling down. I was sat on the toilet. Sorry.
That's right. All the best ideas come on the loo, mate. Don't they?
Yeah. So I was scrolling through Facebook and catching up on some group chats that I was in. You know, I'd got a group chat from the football team, from a stag do, from a family. And what I was seeing as a pattern emerging amongst men that I knew, and they were doing the same thing week in, week out. You know, they'd go to the pub on a Friday, they'd be out all weekend, putting stuff up the nose, spending all the money on whatever. And I'd been that person years before, and I could kind of relate to them. But I just decided to set up a little group for men to talk about these issues that they had, rather than dealing with them by shoveling shit up the nose and, you know, gambling, whatever they're doing to sort of combat these issues. I wanted them to talk about these issues. I didn't even know what the issues were at the time. You know, there could have been a vast number of things, but I was just going on my sort of own previous experiences. And, you know, one guy in particular stood out, and he's my best friend, Ian. Christmas 2018, I was going through a really dark patch myself, just because of the pressures I put myself under. Had a massive amount of work on, and I had my friends working for me, which never works. But Ian, we went for a pint on, I think it's called like Black Eye Friday. It's synonymous of the last Friday when everybody breaks up for Christmas and you meet in the pub and you see people that you've not seen for years. I mean, wouldn't that be great now if we could all go to the pub and meet people we've not seen for months? But, you know, I met Ian and we had a few pints and shook hands, said, you know, we'll catch up over Christmas. I'll give you a bell. And then before you know it, it's January and back on site. And I thought, shit, I've not spoke to Ian all over Christmas like I said I would. So I tried ringing and he didn't answer the phone, which was very rare for Ian. He's one of these guys that's always sort of on the phone to you if you need him. And I got through to him after a couple of days, and I'll never forget like the sort of emptiness I heard in his voice. He was like, hello. I was like, are you okay, Ian? Like, and we had a bit of a conversation, and I was shocked to find out that I'd left him on Friday, the 21st of December, and then on the 23rd of December, he got sectioned under the Mental Health Act because he tried to take his own life. Wow. Now, I was shell-shocked because from the outside in, Ian has got what most men would be envious of. Got a gorgeous wife, beautiful kids, great house, brilliant job, the dog, the car, everything. So
doesn't discriminate, does it?
No. And looking from the outside in, you'd think, why would Ian do that? Anyway, we got talking, we had a real good conversation, and found out that, you know, he'd got some ongoing issues, some trauma from childhood, some events that had happened. And just the general day-to-day pressures of life got to him, and he thought that taking his own life was the answer. Thankfully, he didn't, and now he's feeling a lot better, and we're sort of helping him through it. But going back to that day in April on the toilet, he was one of the guys I was thinking of. And there's another couple of friends. There was one that was battling a crippling addiction. There was one whose business had collapsed, and he'd thought that was the end of the world. And he was actually stood on a bridge literally 2 weeks before I set up Men Unite. So there was these guys that were struggling, but then also what there was, from my sort of own experience and own past, there was guys that had come through it like myself. There was a good guy, Keza. He had a massive crack habit that almost killed him. But he was at the time working for a drugs counselling service. There was another guy, Darren. He was in prison for 9 years for conspiracy to supply drugs, and he came out of prison, found himself homeless. Now he's a CEO of a homeless charity. So there was also the success stories of these men. So I set this group up and invited probably 30 men, and like I say, very diverse backgrounds from all walks of life. And the first person to post in Men Unite was Ian, and he poured his heart out. And then he messaged me straight away and he said, nobody can see that, Candy. Nobody can see what I've put. And I was like, no, it's a closed private group and it's just for us members to see, and we'll discuss it and we'll talk to you and we'll advise you through it. And Ian posted what he'd tried to do previous Christmas, and he'd not even opened up to some of his own family. His own brother didn't know. And I thought, wow, we're onto something here. We've given men this safe space to open up and talk. And from day one, it was a sort of phenomenon that grows and grows each day.
And I bet you've had to go on a hell of a steep learning curve, because and
100%.
I'm sure you've come across very well-intentioned people who try to help people, but actually can make it worse because they're not professionally trained, qualified, or don't understand things. So I can only imagine the learning curve and you've got a team around you who also help you, I believe. But
fantastic team. Men United wouldn't be what it is today without and they're all volunteers. It's the admin team behind the scenes, and there's about 28 of us now. So it's been it's been just over 2 years. But like I said, the learning curve, we've all gone through sort of professional training now. We've got qualifications. We've all done mental health first aid. We've got suicide awareness, suicide prevention. We've done a peer support mentorship training program. We've had to do that to sort of, like you say, we can't. It's so well and good somebody opening up to me and saying, "Oh, how did you deal with that?" Well, I dealt with it because that was how I got through it. But from a professional point of view, there's a kind of grey area. What advice can you give? What can you say? What do you have to do to guide this person and comfort him? And the sort of the paperwork side of things took us a hell of a lot of time to get right. But thankfully, we've got the right organisations on board now. We're just in the process of becoming a CIO charity. We're a CIC, a community interest company, so we've always been a non-profit organisation, but we didn't know sort of which path to go down. But we're about to become a fully fledged charity, so I think that may open the doors for Men United to grow and grow and grow and become the phenomenon that it's set out to be.
And in terms of yourself, do you find that helping other people has helped keep you on the straight and narrow?
100%. I mean, like I say, I set the group up on that morning, and I did have in mind other people and helping other people from day one. But I think ultimately it was to help me as well. It was my own sort of therapy. It was like, can I talk about this? Can I encourage people? Perhaps that'll give me the courage to talk about things. And it shows how did, mate, 100%. But like I said to you, even Ian's story, that's moving in itself. But over the last 2 years, some of the messages I've received, mate, personally, it makes me so humble and so proud. If a man can message you and say, "You have saved my life," you won't get a better feeling. I'm filling up again talking about it, but it's just you can't buy that. You can't go to university and learn that. You need a certain set of skills, I believe, and a certain type of person to sort of be able to do that. I mean, I'm not talking one or two. There's the tens into the double figures. How many people have personally messaged me thanking me? But that's not the reason to do it. I'll never sort of post who's thanked me, who's sort of opened up to me. It's a private closed group, and that's how it stays. But ultimately, what happens is you find. Just last night, funnily enough, Men United FC, which is a football team built on the back of our first ever meeting, we thought, a good way to bring men together is through football, and that's what we stand by. And we're sort of looking at big things this year down the football sort of route. But last night, Men United FC played, and 2 members of Men United came to watch. And then 2 members have kind of bonded over the last week, because one tried to take his own life, and the other one tried to take his own life many, many months or years ago, and they've kind of bonded and helped each other down a little path. And
wonderful.
It's glorious to see. Honestly, mate, it just makes me so proud to see these 2 men laughing and joking and smiling, when last week they were sort of in the depths of contemplating taking their own life. It's sort of...
One of the things that impressed me about the group is that you're not claiming to be a problem fixer for people, because you deal with and help and support people in a really challenging place sometimes, and as the old chestnut goes, you can help anyone but you can't save everyone. And,
that's it, mate. And that took me a long time to sort of get into my head. I mean, Ron, who's my sort of wingman at Men United, the first ever person that we lost, it really hurt me, because I'd messaged the guy a few days before, arranged to go for a coffee, and found out that he'd completed suicide, is the PC thing to say. Found out that he'd gone on and taken his life. And I was like, wow, I was speaking to him a few days ago. How could he have done that? And it raised questions for me about the whole way that we do things and the whole sort of ethos of the group. But what it also did, it created a friendship that I'll never forget, because this guy, I won't mention his name, but I messaged his brother and reached out to his brother and said, I don't know what to say, condolences, blah, blah, blah. Then me and his brother became really good friends. And now his brother's an admin volunteer of our group. And he's also a sergeant in the army. So his mental resilience is probably what sort of most men would aspire to achieve. And he said something to me, which I'll never forget, Dave. He said that he knew his brother would do it. It was just a matter of when. And I couldn't get my head around that. I was like, how can you sort of get into that mindset, or how can you think like that? But it sort of taught me a lot of lessons, that did, the first guy that we lost. And it sort of, I wanted to just put a cape on and fly around saving the world. And I realized that I couldn't, let's take, for example, the guy that runs cancer research. He can't save everybody. The guy that's the CEO of the British Heart Foundation, he's not going to stop everybody dying from a heart problem. Yeah. But what you have to do is sort of be there and put your arms around the people that you can help and support. I mean, I got a message the other day of somebody, thanks for getting me through this day. I feel more confident going into tomorrow. And I'm like, you can't buy that shit, mate. You can't buy that. And that's what we do. We're just there. I mean, the NHS are a absolutely wonderful organisation, and the pressure that they're under, particularly over this last year, it's this budget cut, strain, the pressure that they're under. They are sort of people say that our local sort of mental health hospital called the Harplands, there's case after case after case where people think that they've failed them, and I even thought that at one point. You go to the Harplands to get help and you get turned away, but it's because they're under that much bloody pressure. And I've seen it myself by people that I can't help, because my phone, it's like the bloody bat line. It's the battery goes about 3 times a day, because there's that many people reaching out for help and support from us. So God knows what help and support the Harplands Hospital are offering people, because I think they've only got 30 or 40 beds, and that's cut down because of COVID. So wow. You see the pressures that they're under, and you think, wow, hats off to you guys. But we just keep doing what we're doing, and we're trying our best, mate, to make a difference. And slowly but surely, I think we're chipping away at things.
A fantastic job you and the team are doing, mate. And so before I ask you the last question, let's get the dirty bit out of the way. If somebody wants to support Men Unite, or maybe listening to you chatting today, Craig, they think, actually, do you know what? I need to speak to somebody. How can they either support or get in touch with Men Unite?
Well, we're a Facebook group. We've got Twitter. Just reach out for help and support for us, and I promise you we will help you. My personal email is craig@menunite.org. Drop me an email. I'll send you the link to join all the groups. I'll give you the information about our hub, which is open every day. And Men Unite has volunteers all around the world. So 24 hours a day, there is somebody to speak to.
Wow. And normally at this point, I ask people I interview for one top tip from their term of reference. But because you're all about helping people, if there's somebody listening to this or watching this right now, Craig, that's having a bit of a challenging day, having a bit of a struggle there, what's the one thing you would advise them that might just give them a tiny little bit of breathing space, a bit of respite?
I will give you a Men Unite hashtag and a Men Unite's motto. You are not weak if you speak.
You know what? I'm not going to say anything else. Craig Spillane, genuine pleasure. My friend, get in touch with Men Unite, get in touch with Craig, support him if you can. Craig, thank you for your time. Very generous of you. I'll let you get back to whatever it is you're getting covered in on site there.
Straight up the ladder.
Thank you very much indeed.
See you guys.
Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and hit the notification bell for more videos. Then click the TV to watch the next video. Oh, and don't forget to visit our website at davidhyner.com to claim your free audiobook. Until the next time, go Rhino. Avenir.